Scene 2, take 1, is poverty in your DNA. Let me go. Mama used to sell that crack. Now she dead broke.
You really love crack.
My instinct and my surrounding is to just live in dysfunction and clutter. It just took more of those times of like, and I'm tired of cleaning up after I just cleaned up. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I'm used to. It's more comfortable if it's just fucked up.
I like your farmer's voice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
That shit dope.
Sound like a junk. Fucked up, yeah. What a piece of But no, seriously. It is.
I can't be seriously after you said that. You dead broke. That's your daddy fault. That's not just a lyric. It might be in your inheritance. Today on Doing Numbers, we're asking, is poverty in your DNA?
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Doing Numbers, your number one financial literacy podcast in the world. Clap it up. Get ready to break it down and level up. I'm your host, Olu.
I'm your host, Scott.
So bring your pen and pad and your ears, it sound like, because it's about to get real.
That's right. So today we're going to play a little game called Bars or Beliefs. Bars and Beliefs, excuse me. I'm going to read some lines from rap songs, real ones. And I want you, dear listener, to ask yourself, is this just a bar I nod to in the car? Or is it actually something that I believe about money because of how I grew up or any other external force? That's how you bob his head in the car.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Most of the stuff out here is just nod music. I ain't going to hold you because they ain't no saying nothing.
No cap. Hey, you know you're a professional nodder when you got to throw elbows in there with it. You know what I'm saying? If you do the little Snoop Dogg like this and bring your fist up to your chest, you're probably from the West Coast or something.
I don't know what this is.
That's a rave dancer. I don't know what that is. All right.
Let's do it, man. Bars or beliefs?
You dead broke. That's your daddy fault. What comes to mind?
The harsh reality for some.
Okay. So it's not just a nod.
Nah, it's not a nod for real. For me, it's a nod. It's not a bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bar. It's a nod for me, but it is a reality that a lot of us face, unfortunately.
Okay. Moving along. I agree.
So I got something for you, brother.
Okay.
Y'all niggas way too old to be this broke.
Is that just a nod or is it a bar? I think it's a bar, and this is why. My grandmother told me one thing, and it sticks with me to today. She said, you can be young and broke, but you can't be old and broke. Costs a lot more than be old and broke.
Bruh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just having this conversation with Sim, like, because there's Larry June, by the way.
Boo.
And we sit back and look like how some people literally be like 40, 45. I'm just throwing out random ages, not none in particular. Where they be kind of like, man, I can't really do this and I can't do that. And I ain't gonna lie to you, when I'm 40, 45, I definitely should not be saying that no more. Like, it's cool when you in your early 20s, I can't do this, I ain't got the money, blah, 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 I am broke. You know what I mean? Maybe early 30s because you just really getting into the groove of what you got going on. You should have a little chicken, but you not broke.
Right.
But 40, 45, 50 and on up, and you struggling to, like, you are way too old.
So make sure your pockets mature with your age. If you got an AARP card and no money, you're doing something wrong. All right, next. So this lyric should be very familiar because it comes from the best rapper alive. And
Is that debatable or no?
Did it sound debatable?
I'm just asking. Because when you get ready to say it.
No.
Okay.
Just hear me. Let me land. He said, it goes Halle Berry or Hallelujah. Pick your poison. Tell me what you're doing.
Okay, just the voice alone, the vernacular alone, I know who this
Bar
artist is.
or belief? What do you think? Mr. Not Like Us.
Mr. Not Like Us. It is a bar, and yeah, it's a bar, and the poison is more on the Halle Berry side than Hallelujah for me.
Well, let's break down the lyric first.
Okay,
right.
So with it going Halle Berry, are we glorifying, sex? Are we glorifying the idolizing of a female, a Jezebel, I would say.
A Jezebel.
One that, we all, or, most men are going after
idolizing the
particular
church
reasons.
too, though.
But you are idolizing the church, and I understand. You know, we just had, and I keep bringing up my man's name, but he was really tripping for that.
With the lockout.
Yeah, my man Hammond.
It is not Hammond.
It was.
I thought it was Creflo.
No, it was Hammond. It was definitely Hammond.
Marvin.
I'm
Sapp.
sorry, it was Marvin Sapp.
So,
My bad,
all
Hammond.
the religious leaders we just named, please don't sue us.
Yeah, don't come after us, Lord.
I'm so sorry.
But no, it was Marvin Sapp, man, and it's real, bro. I think it portion of that plagues us because we want to devote time into this, you know, holy sanctuary.
I'm sorry, but the way we just threw them folks
Yeah,
under
we
the
just
bus,
threw them all under the bus.
We need to go to church.
No, but no, seriously though, we find ourselves getting under this sanctuary and feeling like, you know, this is supposed to be the holy grail for us to repent and, you know, really wash our sins and come back out a new person, new spirit. But the way that church has now become a business, it's getting glorified in the wrong ways, in my opinion. I know that's a very controversial topic and discussion for a lot of people, and sensitive for that matter. But I'm just stating what I believe. I would like to know what you take away from that bar.
Well, I think the bar itself just illuminates, like Kendrick is posing to the audience, like no matter which poison you pick, whether you over-sexualizing women and you make that your purpose, or if you idolatizing the religious part of your lifestyle, either way it's taken away from your purpose and what you're supposed to be doing here on earth. He said it don't matter what you're doing. So that's my take. I feel like it is a bar because it allows the audience to think in retrospect and self-reflect. Like the things that I'm putting first and putting on a pedestal don't serve me or my community. And I think he drives that point home a lot through his discography, and I appreciate that.
Nah, that's a great point you brought up, bro.
All right.
And so let me go. Mama used to sell that crack. Now she dead broke.
You love crack, don't you? You put a lot into that one.
I don't, but this artist in particular, bro, he got a lot of passion behind his verses and stuff. So I
Titty
just
boy.
wanted to, you know, exemplify that.
Yeah. So I think I'll break down the lyric first. Mama used to sell that
No.
crack.
Was it a bar or is it a belief first? Or both?
Personally, it's both.
It's both. Okay.
It's both. And okay. Yeah, it's both. And to drive that point home, I need to like illustrate what I feel like the artist is trying to say. Mom used to sell that crack, but she still broke. It resonates home for me because we know so many hustlers who day in, day out are on a corner or doing drop-offs or running plays, but have nothing to show for it. You know what I'm saying? And
Hood rich.
yeah. Or they're chasing the image of a hustler instead of the goal to get out of the circumstance which requires you to hustle in the first place. So I think it's a bar and a belief. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I second what you say, man. Unfortunately, you know, we do have some real hood all-stars out there, man. And ones that we've looked up to before or caught some type of inspiration from, as far as like the flashiness and how they put on for themselves. But in the grand scheme, if you don't have a foundation set for yourself or, you know, anything lined up for you down the line in the event that you do go and falling in this type of, you know, profession, it's a high percentage that you go. So
Yeah, you need a plan.
You need a plan. So yeah, I definitely feel like it's a bar, but it is a realistic belief that unfortunately plagues our community.
Next. You want to know what's more important than throwing money away at the strip club? Credit. Yep.
That's a bar and a belief.
Tell me why.
So it's a bar because of the facts that are behind it. And it's a belief because that's the reality that's the reality we see in our community. I mean, I have thrown some money in the strip club. I won't put a dollar figure on it. Yeah. Clutch your pearls.
You paying these hoes rent?
I don't know. Depending on what type of situation. I don't know.
He say, I don't know what
if what I
went.
threw was paying rent, shorty, I hate to see where you live at. No cap.
My boy in there throwing silver dollars. Giving bitches whips.
Hey, I'm just letting you know. But No, man, seriously. But I've thrown a lot in the strip club before. You know what I mean? And a lot of that money could have been used towards my credit. Credit could have been in a way different place, you know, than what it was at one point. You know, now I've gotten on top of my credit since we, you know, been working on that since the beginning of our podcast season. But yeah, I find that being true. You know, a lot of people throwing thousands of dollars, then you go and talk about credit or, hey, how can we leverage this and that? And then there's no leverageability because all they got is cash.
So you believe it's a bar and a belief?
And a belief.
I agree with you. And here's why. Because I think the line, it leaves it open for interpretation, but I think the goal was to question where your leverage lies, right? Like he says, do you know what's more important than throwing money in a strip club? Credit. Like, you get no leverage from throwing money in the strip club. You can't even take Shorty home with you.
Yeah, you're not taking them home.
You might be a regular, and they might know your name. It might make you feel good for the moment.
Oh, yeah.
But when you leave, your pockets empty, your pants tighter than they was when you got in there for obvious reasons. And then you still go home empty-handed. You feel empty when you get home.
Nothing.
I wouldn't know. This is what I heard.
But a dream.
But
fantasy.
On the other side, credit, like if you pour into credit like you would in a strip club, your pockets are a lot fuller. You have a lot more leverage in life. You can buy a home. You can leverage your credit for a house. You can leverage your credit for damn near anything. You know what I'm saying? It's your financial resume. So I agree. It's both a bar and a belief. And I happen to be a...
Yeah, because Shorty ain't going to buy you no house that you throwing that chicken to. She going to buy herself a crib. But you not going to buy a crib. I like that, man. That was pretty cool, bro.
You like the game?
There's a lot of lyrics out there, and I do want to dive into more. I came to my mind real quick, Still Fly. I wish that was one of the ones that we got in there, because I think that whole song is all bars and beliefs. Like, you know, can't pay my rent because all my money spent. Like, that's a real belief.
You should make a remix to that song with your own lyrics about financial literacy.
That'd be crazy, wouldn't it?
Next episode, that's my challenge to you. If you don't come with the bars, I'm gonna make a diss track about you.
Say less, man.
Say no more.
So what did money feel like growing up?
Okay.
Whew, money felt real weird to me.
It felt weird, bro.
It did.
What money do to you?
Because it wasn't as like, I wasn't attracting it. You know what I mean? And there wasn't many people. It wasn't that many people around me as at a certain point in my life that wasn't necessarily attracting it either. Like the biggest person, honestly, though, was my grandfather. Like, I get all of that.
Pop.
I get all of that. Yeah, there you go.
Sweatshop, pop.
Had me in there, you know what I'm saying? Taking care of them crates and them pallets, man. Getting them out.
Yeah.
Getting them in and getting them out. But no, all jokes aside, man, it was a little funny, but seeing my grandfather, you know, come up the way that he did, and, you know, give me some type of hope and aspiration to have an understanding of my own of what it can do. I think I started to become a little bit more understanding of it and wanting of it more. I just didn't necessarily know where to go find it or how to get it. My apologies. So yeah, that's a little bit about how I felt about money growing up.
On my side, growing up, money was so elusive to me as a kid. I always believed that the people who had money were the luckiest people in the world because me, my family, my friend group, like we didn't have a lot to show as far as money and finances were concerned. Like, we had a great deal of fun, but it was a lot of broke fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I had a family who were hustlers, pimps, and drug dealers, drug users. And a lot of that doesn't come with a lot of show if you do it right.
Right.
So the money that I did see came from people who showed it off physically, like had wads of money in their hand. And I look and be like, you know how much
like that was their whole situation.
Yeah, like you wouldn't see anything else outside of them walking to the bus stop, pulling the money out, and peeling the bills off to pay for the bus fare.
Yeah.
But you're still on the fucking bus. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
But I didn't conceptualize that as a kid. I just thought, do you know how many popsicles I can buy with that shit?
Facts.
Or do you know how many bags of chips? Because back then, and I'm kind of aging myself, they was 25 cents.
No,
a
they
bag.
was, bro. You used to get 4 of them for $1.
For $1.
I remember.
I just needed one of those dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my perception of money back then. I just thought you had to be lucky to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you framed that, elusive. Because I've seen money, although it wasn't much, and I say that to say like there wasn't much, there wasn't astute money makers. I'm gonna take a little bit out of a Shaniqua's book, you know, with astute educators. Shout out Shaniqua. But there wasn't that many astute money makers, and I say that meaning like you said, it was because it was elusive. They didn't know how to hold on to it. They didn't know how to keep it. They didn't know how to regenerate it, use it twice, things like that. Things that we're learning now and understand as part of the game and what helps you continue to build, towards freedom. They weren't doing. Freedom to them was just, now that I'm looking at it, hey, I ain't got to go to work. You know what I mean? I can parlay, kick it, with the homies, roll up on some shorties at any point of the day. That was life. And it looked good. But now understanding that, man, your whole back door is wide open. Like all the air, everybody can come through and see what you got going on.
Crazy.
It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
I got a question for you.
He's silly as heck.
Y'all couldn't let that slide. So did your parents talk about money? Whether it was to you or did you overhear conversation?
No, so my parents divorced early. So I was in a household where money wasn't a conversation. Obviously, I was in a broken home. My mother was she was the youngest until my adopted aunt came into the family.
Shout out TT.
Yeah, love my aunt Nikki. And but my mom has always had, last child syndrome or like young child syndrome or the youngest one. And cause she got everything. So for that, I don't believe like she cared to really, I ain't gonna say like she didn't care, but it just wasn't a thought of hers to have that conversation of money because she knew where the well was coming from. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So
I hate that about the youngest siblings. Yeah. So I'm projecting, excuse me. I'm the oldest of 6. I really hate the entitlement of the youngest child. I really do. They don't get none of the ass whoopings. They don't get none of the ridicule, the punishments, none of that. It's like the first kid is the experiment, and you just supposed to let everything roll off your shoulder while you watching the youngest kid live the life that you wanted to live when you was a kid. Yeah. I just had to get that off my chest. Sorry, y'all.
And then as far as my dad, man, my dad was an immigrant. He came from Nigeria.
You can't say that too loud.
We never.
It's Trump's America.
He's legal. We never had a moment of having that conversation really about money. But it's always like in passing. It's just always been save for a rainy day. Save because you don't know.
So it's caution behind money.
Yeah, it was more like, hey, I want to try to save you and protect you as much as I can, not knowing like I'm losing more money that way. Than if I just went out there and really like took a leap of faith and put my money in other things, knowing that there's compound interest out there for us that was never talked about, at least in my household with my 2 parents.
Gotcha.
What about you?
So my parents were super young when they had me. My pops was 16, my mom was 14. So they were kids raising a kid. My pops, I'll start with him. I saw him abuse money, then I heard him talk about it. Me and my pops had a really close relationship in my childhood ignorance, like too close. Like I vividly remember my pops putting me in the car and taking me to 75th Street and going to cop Nickelback's Reggie. You know what I'm saying? Like I vividly remember that. Yeah. But never a conversation about what to do with money, how to handle it. And it's no fault to him because, again, he was a kid. Yeah. I remember what I was doing at 16 with money. Right. And it was tricking it off on things that I didn't need. Yep. But on the other hand, my grandmother, his mom, she was a very risk-averse person, even at a younger age. Like, I met my grandmother when she was 45. You know what I'm saying? That's when I was born. So she was already experienced in how to handle money. She was a principal for CPS Chicago Public Schools at Fisk, and she was very
Shout out
disciplined.
Granny,
Yeah, shout out Grams. And she was very disciplined with her money. And she showed me what you could do with money. Like, my grandmother was my first experience with like family trips and going shopping for school clothes and the essentials that you need to enjoy life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And be efficient in life. And I'll cut back to Ma Dukes. She was even younger than my father. And she had to grow up raising her older predecessor. Well, not raising, but kind of taking care of her older predecessors. So her relationship with money was basically survival. You know what I'm saying? So she wasn't risk tolerant at all either, like my grandmother. But she also didn't get the opportunities to enjoy her money either. So I got a lot of different money lessons that I didn't take in until I was old enough to see it in hindsight. So, yeah.
Okay.
So next, my question to you is, do you think their habits around money shaped your instincts now, or were they like a kind of rubric of what not to follow for you?
At one point, they were shaping the habits, or my habits were shaped around those instincts.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time. It took just a bunch of just recultivating my mind. And honestly, like, you could recultivate and do all those things, but just human nature, you dive right back into it again. Like, it's like, okay, damn, I just tilled this dirt up. It looks really good. But let me go back in there and fuck it all up real quick, just because I know. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I'm used to. It's more comfortable if it's just fucked up.
I like your farmer's voice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
That shit dope.
I sound like a junk. I'm fucked up, yeah. What a piece of but no, seriously. It is.
I can't be seriously after you said that. Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It is that, moment of like, okay, I got it looking good. Now I'm about to go here and screw it all up because that's just what I'm comfortable with. That's been my instinct and my surrounding. It's to just live in dysfunction and clutter. And then it just took more of those times of like, man, I'm tired of cleaning up after I just cleaned up.
Yeah.
Like doing it over and over again for it to be like, all right, bro, I'm not about to keep re-cleaning when life's great and everything smells good when it's clean. So that's what kind of rolled over into, okay, I'm on this right money path. I'm on the right habits of how to handle money. I'm gonna keep that drive going. So yeah, man, I started out early having bad habits. Ultimately, I'm continuously growing to get out of those habits.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can relate to that wholeheartedly. I think all the examples of who I had to pay attention with in their relation to money, they were lost on me because I was so young and I had such an infatuation with everything but money because I lived most of my life without it, and it didn't water down my quality of life. Like, I was still able to enjoy life without money. So I thought it was something that people worried about that wasn't essential. I saw so many people get by without.
Yeah.
In high fashion. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that was a miscommunication and ignorance of age.
Yeah.
But now I realize that where I am in life now, my relationship with money, it directly affects the people that are tied to me. So there's a lot more risk associated with that.
Got you.
So I can't take a chance and be ignorant, or I can't allow myself to abuse money or have a malpractice relationship with money because it doesn't just affect me anymore. And usually that's how it is with me. Like, it has to come to a point where I'm not the only person taking hits in order for me to take it seriously. Like, I gotta touch the stove to know that it's hot. And I'm slowly coming out of that. And I have to thank my relationship with credit with that, because it's a cause and effect with credit. Whereas with money, you always have the opportunity to make it back. And it doesn't take any more than 2 weeks if you get paid bi-weekly. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Can I set this one little record straight, man? That's been kind of on my mind a little bit before we roll into our next little conversation here.
My breath stink?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
It's got to do with the money thing, man.
bet.
I personally want to get rid of the notion that I've always heard money doesn't grow on trees. That's kind of been like the main, one of the main things that said. Like anytime anytime I would go ask for something, and I asked for it like maybe like consecutively or throughout the week or whatever, then I would get hit with like, money don't grow on trees. Where do you think I'm getting this money from?
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm older, man, it's not necessarily about it physically being born, like growing on a tree. And I hope, none of us think like literally money can grow on a real tree. But it's the proverbial tree that you set up your foundation from.
Mm-hmm.
So like the, estate planning and financial planning and things like that, you're fostering those trees.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, I ain't gonna lie, bro, money do grow off of them.
Mm-hmm.
Money grows off of that. So I got to get out of that mindset that it doesn't, because am I able to pull it as fast as maybe if I were to go walk outside and get it off a tree? No, but
Or how often your kid would ask you for
you know
it.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's there and I'm accessible to it, and I can pick from different limbs based off of the way that I set myself up.
Right.
That's just kind of what I thought about real quick, bro.
But why does that euphemism bother you so much?
Because it puts us in that lack mindset.
Got you.
You know what I mean? That certain things aren't possible. Like having more money out of our means is far-fetched. Whenever I hear that, and it's not. You know what I mean? And I say that to all our people too. Like it's not as far-fetched as you believe it or perceive it to be. Money does not grow on a real tree. We know that.
But you can set your trees in your garden up to the point where you could act as if money does grow on trees.
There you go.
But even if you do have that type of setup, the only way to keep it is to act like it doesn't grow on trees.
Facts. I agree with you there. Have a financial independence number. I don't think I got into that, but I'll speak on that briefly. A financial independence number is important. The reason being is because it gives you a realistic idea of where you need to be if that's how much money you plan on putting out every month. So that's one of the things I ask, potential prospects of mine, rolling them into clients, is I ask, how much money do you comfortably or would like to spend if, it wasn't an issue each month. And I've gotten variety of different amounts, but ultimately we're able to take that amount, use our formula, and show them, okay, based off of you wanting to spend, like for instance, I got a guy right now, he would like to comfortably spend $10,000 a month. So I said, okay, cool. You want to spend $10,000 a month? Well, you're going to need $3.5 million liquid if that's what you want to do. So now he's like, okay, that's realistic for me and my drive, because I can get there. I can see that 3.5, I'm headed in that direction. But it also helps people understand, like, okay, I'm not quite there yet. I may want to spend $10,000, but I may not get there, or I got to strap my boots up and really get after it.
Copy that.
So that was just.
I want to touch bases on what you said about money growing on trees, right? Like your experience was that you couldn't ask for money on a regular basis because your response will always be that of lack. So when you're knowledgeable about people on the other side of the tracks, like Trump, for instance, who got like a $1 million loan from his father, how does that correlate and how does that make you feel as a person who doesn't have that resource?
I mean, honestly, bro, if you would have called me about 5-6 years ago, I probably would be in my feelings about it.
Tight about it.
I'll be tight about it, man. But again, like, and that's the beauty of learning, man, and evolution and your self-development. Because now you can look at these situations and be like, man, he's just an exception. They're an exception. That only happens to them or that person. Okay, he got a $1 million small loan from his family. Kudos to his family for being able to allow that to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to take nothing away from Trump, because that's what I would want to do for my kid. I want my kid to have the ability to come to me or pull from a policy or an account and say, my dad set me up to be able to withdraw this amount if ever I needed it, or just to catapult and springboard me into what I want to do. So
Trump got that loan when he was 18. Thinking back to when you were 18, how would you have used that $1 million with what you know now?
With what I know now, I would definitely, and I'm big on this, man, I would definitely get a couple policies, man.
Insurance policies.
I would. I would do at least 2 of those. And then I would start to look at, investment opportunities shortly after. I'm not going into buying, a high quality, high price car, anything like that with that million. Even when I touch my first million, like I don't plan on going to buy, that dream vehicle at that time or necessarily that dream home. Because a million is not enough. You know what I'm saying? I think
few solid niggas live.
I think we kind of get confused a little bit. Because a lot of us honestly have never seen $1 million up close. I haven't. I'm just gonna be honest, but I will soon. And when I do see that million, I will have
preparing yourself mentally
for sure.
Yeah.
Not to crash out with it. You know what I'm saying? I vision that, and I know it's gonna happen. So when I see it, I'm gonna have a different response next time you ask me. Like, yo. Now that we both millionaires and we sit and have our conversation, like, damn, bro, you got $1 million. What does it feel like? How does it look for you?
I can tell you how I feel now. I'm a millionaire already.
Say it.
I just ain't been to the bank to go get it yet.
There you go. But what do you think? So I'm gonna ask the same question to you.
If I was 18, hindsight.
And how did you feel about Trump getting a loan for $1 million?
Thinking about it, how do I feel about Trump getting a loan for $1 million? I feel like I won't say I feel. What I think about that is that I don't like how disproportionate the opportunities for families like his to offer stuff like that and the knowledge behind that are not reflected in other communities. That's honestly how I feel about it. I would have loved to either see my friends get an inheritance like that or be the beneficiary of a policy that yielded that type of return. But the fact of the matter is that, especially back in the 90s when I was born, that was a unicorn. You know what I'm saying? Like you would never see a black person where I lived with $1 million, whether it was legal or illegal.
They were an exception if they'd have it.
Right. And then if you did see it, it was apparent. Like it's not like it is now where you can be a millionaire and show up in a class of people with a t-shirt and jogging pants and fly under the radar.
Right.
Like if you had money, you smelt it on you. But I in hindsight now thinking about it, if I was 18 and I had that type of that type of loan offered
access,
to me, I would definitely put it in land.
Okay.
I ain't making no more.
Yeah.
So I would buy up as much land in up and coming cities and states, and I'm buying at least 3 casinos. Okay. I'm buying towns like Mark Cuban did and restructuring them and restructuring the economy, and I'm investing in solar panels. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm investing in Google. I'm investing in Microsoft. The things that I know are gonna boom in the next 2 to 10 years. You know what I'm saying? The internet, it was dial-up and AOL back then. You know what I'm saying?
I remember that.
So
broadband.
The things that are, I didn't realize then that the things that were new were not just fads.
Yeah.
Like they were gonna change our lives for the better or worse. You know what I'm saying? Like Instagram and Facebook were really Facebook was just for college kids.
Right.
Until they caught on. It's like, oh, this connects me with another person without me having to put in any work. And what we end up putting money behind is convenience and not advancement. Had I realized that at 18, that $1 million would have easily turned into $200 million.
Oh, easy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right, bro.
So I would have invested in that.
You would, yeah. I like that. You would invest it in the need, what
the
people,
here and now.
Yeah.
The demand.
Because people, definitely lazy sales.
And I think a lot of people put their money behind passion instead of progress.
Yeah.
You know
Speculation.
Well, not even just speculation, but like let's just use us for example, right? Like we using a power right now. Let's just say that we trying to come up with a different segment, right? Your different segment might be geared towards insurance, right? And my different segment might be geared toward real estate because those are the things that we're interested in, whether the economy serves for it or not. Like let's just say people don't believe in insurance no more, but you still want to do it because you believe in insurance.
Right.
That would be a passion project instead of a progress project. And same with real estate. With the economy going up right now, it probably wouldn't be best for me to go into real estate, even though real estate would come down eventually.
Right.
Right. So that would be a passion project. But a progress project would be, let's see, if I was able to benefit from tariffs right now, that would be a progress,
Right.
financially.
I
for
see
me.
what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Better for the wallet, but not for my I guess my happiness on the day to day.
The longevity.
Yeah, exactly.
Got you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna cut real quick. I gotta go run to the bathroom.
All right, so I'm gonna keep going because this is obviously my show. You know, bad bladders get you put out the room early. So I wanna keep going, and I wanna talk about how black and brown people are groomed for survival as opposed to indoctrinating these policies and acknowledgments and doctrines about strategy, right? Like, I know personally, me myself, I grew up on the east side of Chicago, in between 79th and 87th Street, where you were taught to protect your neck, whether it be physical or financial. So imagine if I grew up in Pilsen or downtown South Loop, and I was groomed to look at who was selling a house or what businesses closed down or what businesses thrived in the areas that I lived in. How different would my life be now if, let's just say, at 18, I was groomed to look for those things as opposed to being put in survival mode at such a young age? We have like families and different things like that, like families, communities, economic groups who are groomed to basically be raised off of survival as opposed to strategy. So, back, I'm going to ask you, bro, like, if when you were a kid, what difference do you think it'd make in your life if you weren't raised on survival and the things to protect yourself so you can make it to your maturity as opposed to strategy? And I was just telling the audience, like, if I was raised to look at like what businesses were closing down, what businesses were being built in my area, if I lived in like a more prominent area like downtown Chicago as opposed to the south or the east side of Chicago, like what difference do you think that would have made in your life?
If I had access to it, it definitely would have made a huge difference, because I embody what I do now and who I am. I've embodied that early. I just didn't feel comfortable because I didn't have the resources to really give me that extra like confidence, you know? So I feel like if I would have gotten, you know, a quote unquote a break or anything like that early in life, I definitely would be in a totally different space than I'm in now. I think I would definitely be the mogul that, you know, I'm striving to be. And I'll definitely be in the place of being able to assist my community a lot more. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, I was groomed, you know, in a survival state, especially after the rock of our family, the business that, you know, he created for us all to pretty much eat off of. Mm-hmm. It went away. And then it really kicked into survival. Like at one point, like we were good. It was like, okay, cool. Like it's not a survival thing. Grandpa got things figured out. Money's rolling in. He's passing it down the right way. We all understand at some point this is going to come to us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I was preparing myself for it. But once everything took a left, it was like, shit, we ain't really got no backup plan. Like he was so successful, but one thing I don't feel like my grandfather did well was have that backup plan just in case. You know what I mean? So I feel like I feel like, yeah, if I had the access early, I would have been good. But, you know, if I didn't, I would have been in the boat that I'm in now, which I had to do a lot of self-development and learn on my own in order to get out of the rut in certain situations that I put myself in and ultimately was forced in.
I'll say this and we'll move on. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I think more value is placed in money than it is knowledge. Mm-hmm. And I think the more knowledge that we pass down, the more generational wealth we'll have, because you're not paid for the money that you pass down. You pay for what you know. And what you can translate from knowing into practice. So I feel like our families and our communities need to do a better job of passing down the knowledge of, not just the business of, but passing down a business that your kids might not want to take up the helm on, because as you progress and you pass down that business, the time change too.
Mm-hmm.
So where you were struggling to hold up that business, it's just going to be that much harder for that kid to uphold the said business, especially if you don't pass the knowledge of the nature of the business down. So I just wanted to speak on that.
Nah, I feel you, man. And you know, you brought up the part about tariffs, because it's crazy, you know, because some people look at it like, man, you know, there's money constantly being withdrawn out of my small situation, and you know, like we all said in the room. In our meeting room, like a lot of people struggle off 100% of their check, you know, of their money. So for the fact that, you know, we're gonna have to struggle even more, whether that's the tariffs or whether that's the student loan debt, because you know, right now they're talking about as of May 5th on Cinco de Mayo. That's crazy. Why everybody drunk? On May 5th, they getting ready to roll out involuntary garnishments.
Mm-hmm.
You heard about that?
Yeah, I'm good though.
So, you know, those and those who may not be hip on what's happening, if you have a default account with your student loan organization or company that you withdrew from, they're going to be garnishing wages. I believe it's 15%. So it's not going to be a whole amount, but still 15% of.
It's a decent chunk.
That's still a decent chunk, right? And they're even taking it out of supplemental plans as well. So like our pensions, you know, our relatives who may have had federal pensions through their occupations,
retirement
accounts. They're going to start diving into those. Those are voluntary, where the government has a hand on, and that's the importance of, again, there's policies out there. There's things for you guys to do to tax shelter that money. There's policies out there literally where, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before on one of our episodes, where you can protect yourself from situations like this. Garnishments, being sued, being levied. So we got to start grooming ourselves and transition ourselves out of the bank, because honestly, like, the bank is just there. Like, we're super exposed by having any money in the bank, and quite frankly, our identification.
And that does not mean hold your money in a mattress.
Nah. Mattress money, nah, we got to stop that, because
stop burying your money.
Inflation to tear that up.
Stop burying your money. Dry rot is real.
Yeah.
Stop burying your money. Put it in Olu's pocket. He knows what to do with it.
Put it in a tax shelter situation, man. Tax shelter. Look up that information, man.
Does anybody know what the fuck Trump is doing with this tariff money?
So apparently we $36 trillion in debt.
No, that's a fact.
And
it's 38.
It's 38? Okay, It's 38. Damn, we went up $2 trillion over the night. Damn. We out here spending money. They just said 36 trillion. Wow. So, okay, we're up to 38 in counting.
And do you think that the money that we're getting from tariffs is being put there or otherwise?
Yeah,
because I've seen that we've gotten 20 billion so far
from tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think there's going to be a surplus.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that surplus going to go? We do not know. But if we had to use our imagination, we all know where that could possibly be going.
I don't even think it's going to get to the surplus. I think niggas taking money off the top.
They over there taking it off the top right now.
I mean,
so
I know a hustler when I see one. Man.
I mean, and then on top of it, like you said, bro, like if we got 20 in of the 38 that we owe, and then they're talking about all these millions and billions of people that they're getting ready to start garnishing wages from because of student loan debt. Yeah, we're gonna run over, and I don't know where that money's gonna go. What do Trump has up his sleeve? I don't know. I think time will tell. We got to allow the 4 years to roll out. That's been something that I've been having conversation with people. Like, how do you guys feel about the tariffs? Like, when it first rolled out, I was a little bit like, damn, bro, like, not again. We getting hit with some other bullshit. But, you know, after having conversation with some people, it was just kind of like, you know, just let it do its course. You know, we reacting immediately versus just kind of letting it draw out.
I feel like we always do that.
React immediately.
I feel like we we're such a fear-based society.
Yeah.
And since our media controls like what we know and all that we know, I think Denzel said it best. We have to differentiate information from misinformation.
I feel like he crossing the line a little bit though, bro. Especially with the tariff with China. Like right now, this is World War III that we're in. It's not the common war that you would normally see,
It's not the physical
combative war. Yeah, guns and things being drawn and stuff like that. But this is a trade war. We're in World War III. So, guys, buckle up if you hadn't already. But he's playing with fire with China, man, because we get so much importation from those guys, from semiconductor chips to, cell phones, car parts. I mean, I was looking at the GDP, the breakdown of the percentages of what China manufactures and what imports do we get from them. It's a lot, bro. So it's like
we need them. They don't need us.
We need them. Like we need them, man. Slick. And I don't think Trump's doing a good job as far as the reindustrialization part of it, because that's what I'm deriving from wanting to reciprocate, tariffs and add on these extra tariff percentages, is to pump back into our community and help industrialize what we once had.
Because it's like if tariffs are raised on everyday goods like tissue, eggs, which are already super expensive, Jeff Bezos isn't hit first. It's us.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is, I don't know if I was having this conversation with you or it may have been Chaz. I was having a conversation with. So we were literally talking about 36. I think right now, today, the wealthy are paying less in taxes than your working class.
Very much so.
And that's, to me, what Trump's whole initiative is. Obviously, he's a rich man. You know what I mean? So it only makes sense. So I think there's definitely some underlying, positioning here behind all of this for sure. I think there's definitely patting their pockets.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to put smoke and mirrors up to the common folk who don't know, about what to do and how to reposition themselves.
I agree. Trump's using tariffs as like a chess move, but for people that's living check to check, and that's not really a game, right? Like how do we keep getting caught in a crossfire of decisions made by people who have like an abundance of safety nets? Like how do we get out of or from under thumb of people who can suffer the consequences when we can't?
I mean, you just gotta go back and look at the blueprint, because the foundation is laid. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of, are we paying attention to the blueprint and executing it in a manner that works for us until we can, divvy up enough resources to really take this thing to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So starting out basic is simply having conversation. How I don't like this no more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many of us are really being real in our household and just saying, hey, I don't like this no more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that we, have to shop and save a lot once or twice a week. I don't like the fact that we got to wait for coupons to come in the mail in order for us to really get all the groceries that we want. I don't like the fact that, I got to rob Peter to pay Paul just so I can make sure my kid eats tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got to just really toughen up and man up, woman up, and just be like, bro, I don't like this. And
have
I don't
these
want
tough
this.
conversations so we can get to a solution.
For sure.
I see what you're
That's
saying.
the only way you're going to get to a solution. You're not going to get to one just going out here just trying stuff, with no plan. So I think having that conversation and just being fed up, like, bro, enough is enough. But it's been so many things that have happened to where you would expect our people to say, yo, bro, yeah, enough is enough, bro.
You think it's time to storm the Capitol again?
Nah, not us.
Yeah, they're gonna
not
shoot
us. They're gonna take us down. But it's definitely ways, man. But just get with people who have these conversations. They're not lames. They're not weird people because they see different or they vision their life to be different outside of the norm. That's probably somebody that you want to tag along with and, ask more questions. If
they got a different perspective.
They got a different perspective.
So speaking of like breaking the chains and having these types of conversations, like what's one money behavior that you consecutively try to unlearn?
holding my money, man, having crab hands, crab fingers, whatever you call it. Or what is it, crocodile arms when it's time to pay the bill.
I don't know what your country ass trying to say, bro, but I feel you like you.
No, they
you
call
saying,
it crocodile arms. You know
why they call it that?
because their arms are short. And you know, every time, you know, when the bill come, everybody at the table, and it's like, okay,
Oh,
well,
like I don't want to touch that.
like
Crocodile arms.
You
Literally,
know, I
okay.
can't really reach.
I got you.
I can't reach the bill. My
That's
arms
not
are
funny
short.
to short people. I don't feel like people should
I'm
keep
sorry,
using
bro.
that.
You felt triggered.
Nah, I'm a gangster, but other
Yeah.
people might feel that way.
No, facts.
Yeah.
So
But with that, the reason I asked you that is because like we self-perpetuate, right? Like especially old behaviors. And I think the worst thing we can do is not ask ourselves that question. Like what money behaviors am I constantly trying to unlearn that I haven't yet, and why? So why do you feel like that's been such a long lesson for you?
because I was in survival.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Everything I put out, I felt like I needed to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I just spent $200. Fuck, I need that $200. I really shouldn't have spent it, but I did it because
It's Sim.
because you know, Sim, or it's just like I don't want to be portrayed as such.
Gotcha.
You know, by my peers or what other people say.
You don't want to be
know what
called a
I'm saying?
brokey.
You don't want to be called broke,
It's so
man.
cringy.
I mean,
It's
it
so
is.
cringy.
It really is, bro. But some get mad at me when I bring this up. But I always say, you know, there's cash poor and then there's broke.
You said she get mad at you when you say it?
Yeah,
Say it
because she
again.
don't like that. She
Say
don't
it-
like
say it
the
again.
word cash poor.
Say it again. Go ahead.
She's like, what is cash poor? Why are you saying that? Like, it's broke is broke. I'm like, nah. I'm like, no, you know, some people don't have the cash. You know what I'm saying? They're not broke. The mentality's there. They just don't have the funds
They
right
can
now.
swipe, they just can't, you know what I'm saying?
know what
Pay
I'm
that
saying?
swipe back.
You feel me?
Yeah, I feel
And
that.
then, you know, there's broke. Literally, I don't want to do nothing. I want to do bare minimum, work bare minimum, receive bare minimum.
And the comfort in that.
And the comfort.
Because you know what to expect.
For sure.
So what's a new habit or mindset that you're trying to pass down to your kids?
New habit and mindset.
I ain't got no kids. So I'm trying to pick up pointers.
Don't be afraid to take a risk, take a chance. I think that's the biggest thing. Risk takers, man, they some of your most elite people, bro. And I don't want to ever put my kids in a situation of feeling like I'm confined to just doing this particular thing, because I don't know that, you know, there's more out there or more that I can get to help me, you know, continue on what I really want to do. So I just want to provide that open space and access for them to let it cook and understand that success takes time. So
Is that a bumper sticker? Where you get that from?
nah, man, it was just something that just downloaded, you know?
Okay, I feel
just
that.
programmed. God just sent that message
I
down,
feel
man.
you.
Shout out to the angels,
Let
man,
me
that
scoot up
surrounded
before you
me.
get struck by lightning.
Shout out to the angels surrounding me, man.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, bro. And so I'm gonna ask you the same question.
What?
So, what are some stigmas or things that you want to change? And ultimately, if you do decide to have a kid, like, what will you instill in them?
I will instill in them that the anxiety that can come with money isn't real.
That's a good one.
Right? Like I will instill in them that money is a concept in itself. The fear behind it is too. I would instill in them that the emotions behind money are self-inflicted. Like everything that you feel surrounding what's in or not in your pockets is all up to you. Right? Like the passion that you put behind everything else can be implemented into how you receive or delve out money. I think my biggest mistake in my adolescence was believing that I had to be like this upper echelon extraordinary motherfucker in order to even touch some paper. You know what I'm saying? When all of this is ideological. Like I think we're taught in our communities that you literally have to be cut from a different cloth to assume an amount of wealth. When you really just have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With what you get. But I don't know. Y'all hit us in the comments. Like, what practices or what fears do you have associated with money that you've overcome? Like, let us know your own backstories and your relationship with money. I read in this book that you should write letters to money and your relationship with it. Right?
Really?
Like, give yourself your own therapy session with how you handle money and how you actually feel about it. So make sure that y'all hit us in the comments and let us know what letters y'all write out there this week, and we'll touch back with y'all.
Write out some dope letters, man. Let us know what y'all feel about the tariffs too, man. How's it affecting y'all? What are you the psyches behind everything that's transpiring from your point of view?
And what changes are y'all seeing in y'all communities as a result? Like, we need to streamline that communication and keep each other abreast of what's going on before it hits all of us. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And I do want to touch on one thing before we wrap up. And one question that I had to ask you, and I feel like I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Do you think people from wealth can even imagine how one price increase can shatter someone's whole month?
I don't feel like anybody has an issue conceptualizing anything that affects the next person. I think the issue is with empathy.
Yeah.
Like, do you give a fuck? Do you care?
Any compassion?
The answer is usually no. Like, my family's straight.
Yeah.
That's usually the comeback. Like, that's usually the next result or the next part of the conversation. Like, we good. Sorry to hear that.
Right.
And I think it's fucked up because what affects one of us does affect all of us in the long run.
Which goes back to one of our previous episodes where we were talking about no one wants to really help the next person clean up their own shit.
Yeah. Let me talk to y'all about that. These episodes that we putting out for y'all, they cost money. I do not appreciate these little 300 subscribers that we got, first and foremost. Look at me in my eye when I'm talking to you. I put my heart and soul into this mic. And the fact that y'all just watch our videos haphazardly, like our clips, but y'all don't go to YouTube and watch the video, it's 45 minutes. Don't let me tell these people what you do with your 45 minutes, because I see y'all. I see y'all search history. I know what y'all be looking up. Amazon's gone wild. I see y'all. I need you to chill on that and get you some financial literacy, man.
That's it,
Come
man.
check out Doing Numbers.
Check out Doing Numbers, man. Every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like what you heard today, got some gems, got some tips, got anything you want to share with somebody, share it with them. Tell them to subscribe to us. Tell them to follow us on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You can find us there. I'm your host, Olu.
I'm your host, Scott.
And it's another episode of Doing Numbers. Peace out.